Alex Mercer rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the computer monitor. Another long night shift at the SETI outpost in New Mexico. He reached for his coffee mug, found it empty, and sighed. The endless search for signals from space usually yielded nothing but cosmic noise. Then he saw it. The pattern on his screen was different, not random, not natural. The signal came in distinct pulses, repeating in a sequence that made his heart race. "What the hell?" he whispered, sitting up straight. He ran the standard tests, checking for terrestrial interference or equipment malfunction. Nothing. The signal was real, coming from a specific point near Epsilon Eridani, about 10.5 light-years away. Alex's hands trembled as he picked up the phone. It was 3:17 a.m., but protocol was clear. Any potential non-natural signal required immediate verification. "Dr. Collins, it's Mercer. I need you to come in. Now." Dr. Olivia Collins arrived 40 minutes later, her gray hair hastily pulled back, wearing a sweater over her pajamas. She said nothing as Alex showed her the readings. "It's been transmitting for 43 minutes, he explained. "Look at the pattern." The signal came in groups. First 2 pulses, then 3, then 5, 7, 11, 13. "Prime numbers," Dr. Collins whispered. "My God." "It gets better," Alex said, showing her the next sequence. "These appear to be atomic numbers: hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen." Dr. Collins sat down heavily. "This is it, isn't it? After all these years?" "I think so. We need to alert the director." Within hours, the facility was buzzing with activity. Government officials arrived by helicopter. The signal continued, now shifting to what appeared to be mathematical formulas and basic diagrams. Ryan Garcia, the newest analyst on the team, worked frantically to record and decode everything. "They're sending coordinates," he announced. "Star charts showing their location and ours." By afternoon, news vans gathered outside the facility's gates. Someone had leaked the story. The world was about to learn they were not alone. Director Frank Wilson called an emergency meeting. "The president will address the nation tonight. Until then, we maintain control of information. What do we know for certain?" Dr. Collins cleared her throat. "The signal is artificial and intelligent in origin. It contains mathematical sequences, basic scientific data, and what appears to be an invitation for response." "An invitation?" asked a stern-looking woman in a military uniform. "The repeated coordinates and timing suggest they want us to reply using the same frequency and method," Alex explained. "And should we?" asked the military officer. Director Wilson looked around the room. "That decision comes from above my pay grade, but they already know we're here. The question is what they want." That evening, people around the world gathered around televisions and screens to hear the historic announcement. Humanity had received its first confirmed contact from an extraterrestrial civilization. In his small apartment near the facility, Alex watched the president's speech with mixed emotions. Pride at being part of this historic moment, wonder at what this meant for humanity, and beneath it all, a small kernel of worry. "We extend our hands in friendship to our cosmic neighbors," the president said. "This is a new chapter in human history." Later that night, as authorized by the world's major powers, Earth sent its first official response, a return signal using the same mathematical language. What no one could know was that this seemingly innocent exchange would set in motion events that would test humanity's very survival. The message from the stars was not merely a greeting. It was the beginning of a carefully laid trap. 5 years passed since the first alien signal reached Earth. Humanity had exchanged thousands of messages with the beings who called themselves the Vax Turi. People everywhere prepared for the historic arrival of their ship. Captain William Foster stood by the large window in Earth's new orbital command center, watching as the alien vessel approached. Unlike the bulky human space stations, this craft was elegant, crystal-like surfaces that seemed to shimmer with internal light. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked Admiral Lisa Blackwood, joining him. Too beautiful, Foster replied quietly. Everything about them seems too perfect. The Vaxturi ship slid into Earth orbit with impossible grace. No engine flares, no visible propulsion. It simply moved exactly where it wanted to be. The first meeting between humans and aliens happened aboard the International Space Station. The Vaxturi representatives appeared almost human, tall beings with pale skin that reflected light like mother of pearl. They spoke through devices that translated their musical language perfectly. "We bring gifts," said the lead alien, who used the name Zor-El. "Technology to heal your sick. Clean energy. Methods to repair your damaged environment." Within weeks, Vaxturi advisors were on Earth, demonstrating miracle technologies. Cancer cured with simple injections. Devices that pulled carbon from the atmosphere. Engines that ran on water. Most humans celebrated. Some, like Captain Foster, grew more suspicious. "They know too much about us," he told Lieutenant Kate Riley as they watched news footage of cheering crowds. "They arrived with perfect translations, understanding of our biology, knowledge of our political systems. We did send them a lot of information," Riley pointed out. "Not that much," Foster insisted. "And why give us so much advanced technology with no conditions? Nobody's that generous." Foster wasn't alone in his concerns. Ryan Garcia, the analyst who had helped decode the first alien message years ago, now worked in the security division monitoring Vaxturi communications. One night, Garcia noticed something strange. Tiny data bursts, hidden within normal transmissions between the alien ship and their embassy on Earth. He wrote a program to extract and analyze these secret messages. What he found chilled him. The Vaxturi were communicating with devices placed throughout the solar system, devices no one had authorized. Even more disturbing, they had detailed files on Earth's military capabilities, resource locations, and population centers. Garcia took his findings directly to Foster and Admiral Blackwood. "They'd been placing some kind of network around our planet and throughout our system," he explained, showing them the evidence. "And this data, they knew our defense capabilities before they even arrived." Blackwood's face darkened. "You're saying they're preparing for something hostile?" "It looks that way," Garcia replied. "They've been mapping everything. Our weaknesses, our resources, our most valuable targets." Foster thought of all the helpful Vaxturi now embedded in governments, hospitals, and research facilities worldwide. "We need to act quietly. If they realize we know, it might trigger whatever they're planning," Blackwood finished. They began a secret operation, recruiting trusted individuals to monitor the aliens while developing countermeasures using the very technology the Vaxturi had gifted them. 6 months later, the Vaxturi ambassador requested a global broadcast. With perfect smiles, they announced more ships would arrive soon, bringing more advanced gifts. Foster watched the broadcast from a hardened bunker deep underground, where a small group now prepared for what they believed was coming. "How many ships?" he asked when the broadcast ended. Garcia checked his screen. "Long-range telescopes show hundreds emerging from some kind of spatial distortion near Jupiter." "Not gift ships," Blackwood said grimly. "No," Foster agreed. "The invasion fleet." The Vaxturi ships appeared suddenly, hundreds of them emerging near Jupiter's orbit. Their crystal surfaces no longer shimmered with welcoming light, but glowed red with hostile intent. Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet moved to intercept them, utilizing technology reverse-engineered from the aliens' gifts. The first attacks came with little warning. Beams of intense energy sliced through buildings in New York, Tokyo, London, and dozens of other major cities. Millions died in the initial assault as the Vaxturi targeted power plants, water treatment facilities, and communication centers. From his position in the deep underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Daniel Ward watched the disaster unfold on multiple screens. His face remained stone-like, but his eyes revealed the horror he felt. "Status report," he demanded. A young officer with bloodshot eyes looked up from her station. "Sir, we've lost contact with the East Coast Command." European forces report heavy casualties. The Asian defense grid is still operational, but under extreme pressure. Ward nodded. 5 years of suspicious preparation had given them something, at least. Not all of humanity was caught unprepared. And our orbital defenses. The battle group Alpha engaged the enemy near lunar orbit. They managed to destroy 3 Vax-Turi vessels before being overwhelmed. The bunker shook as something massive struck the mountain above them. Dust filtered down from the ceiling. "They found us," someone whispered. "They always knew where we were," Ward replied calmly. "But knowing and breaking through are different challenges." He turned to where Dr. Samantha Lee worked frantically at a specialized terminal. Once one of the world's leading theoretical physicists, she now led humanity's weapons development program. "Please tell me you have something," Ward said. Dr. Lee looked up, her face drawn with exhaustion. "I think so. The Vax-Turi technology has a critical weakness we've identified. Their quantum communication systems operate on specific frequencies. If we generate the right radiation pattern, we can blind them," Ward finished. "More than blind them. We can disrupt their entire command network," Lee explained, pointing to schematics on her tablet. "Their ships depend on constant quantum-entangled communication. Break that, and they'll be isolated from each other." Ward turned to his communications officer. "Get me every remaining military commander worldwide. Operation Darkest Dawn is now active. Across the planet, hidden facilities activated specialized equipment based on Dr. Lee's discoveries. As Earth burned, humanity prepared to strike back." The counterattack began 3 days after the initial invasion. The Vax-Turi ships, confidently moving into lower orbits to continue their bombardment, suddenly lost coordination. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Earth's remaining fighters launched immediately, targeting the confused alien vessels with weapons specifically designed to penetrate their crystal hulls. In the Pacific Ocean, the submarine U.S. Vigilant surfaced just long enough to launch its modified missiles at the largest Vax-Turi ship over Asia. The alien vessel shattered like glass, raining burning fragments into the sea. Similar scenes played out worldwide as humanity fought with desperate fury. The price was high. For every alien ship destroyed, hundreds more humans died. But they fought on. In the bunker, Ward received reports of small victories amid overwhelming losses. "We won't win this way," he told his staff honestly. "But we're showing them we won't go quietly." Dr. Lee looked up from her work. "We don't need to win yet, General. We just need to survive long enough to develop the next phase." "And what's that?" She displayed a new set of equations. "Their biology. I've been studying the Vax-Turi we captured last week. They have vulnerabilities we can exploit on a species-wide level." For the first time in days, Ward allowed himself a small smile. "Then we keep fighting until you're ready." Outside, the sky burned red with the fires of war. But humanity had only begun to fight. The unexpected arrival of an unknown spacecraft caused Earth's remaining defense systems to go on high alert. Unlike the crystal ships of the Vax-Turi, this vessel was organic in appearance, with curves and patterns resembling a massive seashell. "Another enemy?" asked General Ward, watching the live feed from a surviving orbital platform. "I don't think so," replied Ryan Garcia, who had become the lead analyst for alien communications. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies. It's not Vax-Turi language." The strange ship maintained its position at the edge of the solar system, sending the same message repeatedly. Finally, Garcia cracked the code. "They're requesting a meeting," he announced. "And they claim to be enemies of the Vax-Turi." After intense debate among what remained of Earth's leadership, a heavily armed shuttle was sent to meet the visitors. Commander Nickel Harper, a decorated naval officer who had survived 3 major battles against the Vax-Turi, led the mission. The being that greeted them called itself Xenta. It had 4 arms, iridescent scales instead of skin, and eyes that changed color as it spoke. Through a translation device, it explained its purpose. "We represent the Azeri Confederation, a union of species who have suffered Vax-Turi aggression," Xenta told them. We come to offer alliance. Back on Earth, Harper reported to the United Earth Council, a hastily formed body of surviving government representatives. Why should we trust them? Asked a council member from Brazil, his face scarred from a Vax-Turi attack. Harper stood straight, her uniform crisp despite the desperate conditions. They provided detailed intelligence on Vax-Turi weaknesses, information that matches what Dr. Lee has discovered independently. Why didn't they help us sooner? Demanded another counselor. I asked them the same question, Harper replied. Senta was honest. They believed Earth was already lost. The Vax-Turi conquest pattern is predictable. Total victory within days. No species has held out for months as we have. Dr. Lee stepped forward. The technology they're offering is legitimate. Their weapons can penetrate Vax-Turi shields more effectively than anything we've developed. Ward nodded. The Azeri claim the Vax-Turi have conquered 17 worlds before targeting Earth. None resisted as effectively as humans. Senta, permitted to address the council directly, moved to the center of the room. Its eyes shifted to a deep blue. Your species fights with remarkable determination, it said. The Confederation needs allies with your tenacity. You mean you need soldiers, Harper said bluntly. Yes, Gente admitted. We have technology. You have warriors willing to die rather than submit. Together, we can defeat our common enemy. The alliance was formed that day. Azeri ships began arriving with advanced weapons and medical supplies. Earth's remaining factories were converted to produce new technology based on Azeri designs. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity started to push back the Vax-Turi forces effectively. Cities were reclaimed. Alien strongholds fell. But victory came at a terrible cost. Earth's population had been reduced by nearly 40%. Entire regions were uninhabitable due to Vax-Turi weapons that poisoned the land. The oceans were contaminated near major battle sites. 6 months into the alliance, Harper led a joint human-Azeri force to liberate North America's eastern seaboard. The battle raged for weeks, but eventually, the Vax-Turi retreated. Standing on the ruins of what had once been Washington, D.C., Harper watched Azeri medical teams treating human survivors who had hidden underground for months. Was it worth it? Asked her second-in-command. Harper looked at the sky, now clear of enemy ships for the first time in over a year. Ask me when the war is over. Zenta approached, its scales reflecting the sunset. This is only the beginning. The Vax-Turi will return with greater numbers. Then we'll be ready, Harper replied. We're not fighting just for survival anymore. We're fighting to take back our future. 3 years had passed since the Vax-Turi invasion began. Earth was now unrecognizable. The surviving humans lived in hardened underground cities or in protected zones under massive energy shields. The planet's surface bore the scars of countless battles. Craters, vast dead zones, and the twisted remains of once great cities. But humanity had not merely survived, it had evolved. Major Chris Bennett stood before the 20 pilots of Phoenix Squadron in a briefing room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. At 34, he looked older, with a jagged scar running along his jaw and eyes that had seen too much death. Today we take the fight to their doorstep, he told his pilots, men and women who had come of age during the war. None were older than 25. All had lost family to the invaders. The room's main screen showed a distant star system. This is Vax-Turi Colony 7. Intelligence from our Azeri allies indicates it's lightly defended. They don't expect us to strike this far from Earth. Lieutenant Amy Foster raised her hand. Sir, how are we getting there? Even with Azeri jump technology, it's months of travel. Bennett smiled slightly. Not anymore. He nodded to a woman standing quietly at the back of the room. Dr. Maria Vasquez stepped forward. Once a promising graduate student, she now led Earth's most advanced propulsion research. We call it the quantum fold drive, she explained, displaying a schematic of an engine unlike anything the pilots had seen before. It doesn't move through space like conventional drives. It temporarily folds spacetime. allowing near instantaneous travel between points. Faster than anything the Vaxturi have, Bennett added. Our ships will appear without warning. We'll hit their command centers, defense grids, and communication hubs simultaneously. The mission, codenamed Operation Prometheus, launched the next day. 12 sleek fighters, built with a combination of human ingenuity and Azeri technology, disappeared from Earth orbit in flashes of blue light. They emerged directly above the Vaxturi colony. The alien world, once beautiful, had been transformed into a massive mining operation. The crystalline Vaxturi structures dominated the landscape. Phoenix leader to all units, Bennett radioed. Commence attack. Remember your targets. The human fighters streaked down through the atmosphere, their weapons tearing through the surprised Vaxturi defenses. Unlike the early days of the war, these weapons had been specifically designed to combat the aliens' technology. Bennett led the attack on the main control center, a towering crystal spire at the colony's heart. His missiles struck with precision, shattering the structure from top to bottom. "Sir," called Lieutenant Foster over the comm, "I'm detecting life signs in the eastern sector. Not Vaxturi. Thousands of them." Changing course, Bennett flew low over the area Foster had indicated. What he saw shocked him. Enormous facilities filled with beings of various species working under Vaxturi guards. They're slaves, he realized. This whole colony is a forced labor camp. The mission quickly changed from attack to liberation. The Phoenix Squadron targeted the Vaxturi guards and security systems, allowing the captives to escape. Among the freed slaves were beings from dozens of worlds, each with stories of Vaxturi conquest. They had been taken from their home planets to mine resources and build ships for their conquerors. An elderly being with 4 arms approached Bennett after the fighting ended. "You are not from the Confederation," it said in broken human language. "No. We're from Earth." The alien's eyes widened. "Earth." The Vaxturi said Earth was destroyed. "They show us images of your world burning as warning of resistance." Bennett shook his head. "We're still fighting, and now we're taking the war to them." The freed slaves provided crucial intelligence, star charts showing Vaxturi territory, fleet movements, and most importantly, the location of their homeworld. "This isn't just our war anymore," Bennett reported to Earth Command as Phoenix Squadron prepared to return home with hundreds of liberated beings. It's a liberation campaign for 17 conquered civilizations. For the first time since the war began, humanity had a clear path to victory, not just survival, but triumph. The Coalition War Council gathered in the largest remaining underground facility on Earth, 10 miles beneath what had once been Geneva. Representatives from humanity and 16 liberated alien species sat around a massive table, with dozens more joining through secure holographic connections. Dr. Andrew Kim stood at the center, beside a rotating display of what appeared to be a weapon. At 42, he looked exhausted, his hair prematurely gray, but his eyes burned with intensity. "We call it the quantum resonance disruptor," he explained, enlarging details of the device with hand gestures. "It targets the specific neurological patterns of Vaxturi physiology." An Azeri representative leaned forward. "Explain the effects." "It creates a cascading disruption in their neural networks," Dr. Kim continued. "It will effectively disable every Vaxturi within range without harming other species. The effect is non-lethal, but completely incapacitating." A murmur spread through the assembled leaders. After nearly 4 years of devastating war, the possibility of a decisive weapon had emerged. Ambassador Eric Shaw, one of the few diplomats to survive the initial invasion, stood up. Though he wore a military uniform now, he still approached problems with a diplomat's mind. "We're talking about effectively neutralizing an entire species," he said, his voice echoing in the chamber. "Are we any better than them if we do this?" Admiral Blackwood, now scared both physically and emotionally from years of war, rose slowly from her chair. Her left arm ended at the elbow, a reminder of a close encounter with Vaxturi forces. The difference is that we gave them a chance to retreat, she said firmly. We've offered peace 17 times during this conflict. Each offer was met with escalation and atrocities. She pointed to the holographic displays showing devastated Earth cities and similar scenes from other worlds. The Vax Turi destroy because conquest is their way of life. We're using this weapon because we want the killing to stop. The debate continued for hours, with representatives from each species weighing the moral implications against survival. Finally, General Ward called for a vote. Those in favor of deploying the quantum resonance disruptor, one by one, hands and various appendages raised around the table. The decision was unanimous. The plan took shape quickly. A small fleet of stealth vessels would carry the device directly to the Vax Turi homeworld. The mission would be led by the UES Defiance, commanded by Captain Julia Ortiz, a veteran of dozens of battles against the invaders. Ortiz gathered her crew of volunteers. Each person had been chosen not only for their skills, but for their psychological resilience. This mission would decide the outcome of the war. I won't lie to you, she told them during their final briefing. The chances of returning are minimal. The Vax Turi homeworld is the most heavily defended location in known space. A young navigation officer named Paul Chen raised his hand. How close do we need to get for the device to work? Dr. Kim answered, low orbit. The device must be within the planet's magnetosphere to achieve maximum effectiveness. The night before launch, Captain Ortiz visited the memorial wall, where the names of billions of war dead were projected in a sobering display. She placed her hand on the section listing her hometown, now just a crater in what had been California. This ends tomorrow, she whispered. The mission launched in absolute secrecy. 5 ships, using the latest quantum fold drive, appeared at the edge of the Vax Turi home system. Using technology developed from all 17 allied species, they moved undetected through the defensive grid. The Defiance reached low orbit and deployed the weapon. Immediately, Vax Turi sensors detected them. Crystal ships converged from all directions. Weapon activation in 30 seconds, reported the science officer. We need to buy time, Ortiz ordered. All power to shields. The Defiance took devastating hits. Hull breaches opened across multiple decks. Ortiz ordered the crew to evacuation pods. 10 seconds to activation, came the report. The last thing Ortiz saw before her escape pod launched was the Defiance breaking apart around her. But the weapon remained intact, counting down to 0. Throughout known space, on hundreds of worlds and vessels, the Vax Turi civilization fell silent as the wave expanded outward. The war that had nearly destroyed humanity was finally over. 100 years after the end of the Vax Turi War, Earth looked very different. The scars remained. Vast regions where nothing would grow, coastlines permanently altered by weapons that had melted ice caps, the ruins of once great cities preserved as memorials. But humanity had rebuilt and expanded. Colonies now thrived on Mars, Europa, and a dozen worlds beyond the solar system. The alliance with the Azeri had evolved into the Galactic Cooperative, with Earth as a founding member. Ships with the distinctive blue and green Earth emblem traveled freely between the stars. Fleet Admiral Jason Chen stood at the center of the War Memorial Observatory on Luna, Earth's moon. Through the massive transparent dome, the blue-green planet hung against the black of space, beautiful despite its battle scars. Around him gathered representatives from over 30 species, some descendants of those liberated during the war, others new allies who had joined the cooperative in the decades since. 100 years ago today, Chen began, his voice carrying through the solemn space. The greatest threat our worlds had ever known was defeated by the combined efforts of 17 species. Today we remember those who gave their lives so that we might stand here. He gestured toward a simple pedestal in the center of the observatory. On it sat a small, unassuming device. Today we also send a message to the stars, he continued. Not just a memorial, but a reminder. At Chen's signal, technicians activated the most powerful transmission array ever built, a network of satellites surrounding the solar system, designed to broadcast simultaneously in all directions at maximum power. The message, transmitted in all known languages and mathematical formats, began to flow outward at the speed of light. To all spacefaring civilizations, Chen's voice announced, now broadcasting to the cosmos. This is humanity of Earth. We are a peaceful species who wishes for cooperation and mutual prosperity among the stars. Images followed, scenes of rebuilt Earth cities, the cooperative council in session, ships from different species traveling together. But let our history with the Vax Turi serve as both lesson and warning. Now the broadcast showed historical footage of the war, Earth burning, the liberation of slave worlds, the final battle at the Vax Turi homeworld. We survived extinction. We liberated 17 subjugated species. We defeated what was thought undefeatable. The images shifted to show Earth's current defense fleet, thousands of ships with technology far beyond what had existed during the war, protecting not just human worlds but all cooperative members. We do not seek conflict, but we stand ready to defend not only ourselves, but any who cannot defend themselves. We are watching, we are waiting, and we are ready. The next sequence displayed peaceful contact scenes, first meetings with new species, scientific exchanges, joint colonization efforts. This is not a threat to those who come in peace. This is a promise to those who would follow the path of the Vax Turi. The stars are not yours to conquer, not while humanity stands guard. As the message beamed outward, beginning its journey across the galaxy, Admiral Chen gazed through the observatory's viewport at Earth rising over the lunar horizon. His aide, a young officer named Laila Patel, approached quietly. "Do you think anyone's listening?" she asked. Chen smiled slightly. "I hope so, for their sake." "And the Vax Turi, do you think any survived?" The Admiral's expression grew more serious. The disruptor wasn't designed to kill them, just neutralize their ability to wage war. The cooperative maintains the quarantine of their world. They may evolve again one day, perhaps differently. And if they come back as conquerors. Chen turned from the viewport to face the gathered representatives of dozens of worlds, all standing together in the peaceful unity that had emerged from terrible conflict. Then they'll find the galaxy is no longer an easy target. They'll find humanity isn't just a single world of fighters, but the shield for 100 peaceful civilizations. As the ceremony ended and the representatives dispersed, Admiral Chen remained at the viewport. The message would travel forever among the stars. Humanity's promise to any who might listen. Not a declaration of war, but a commitment to peace, protected by the unforgettable lesson of what happens when peaceful species are forced to fight for their survival. Humanity had learned the hard way that the universe could be dangerous, but they had also learned they were strong enough to face those dangers, not just to survive them, but to ensure they never threaten the innocent again.